Hello, Nicky.
Hello, hello. Hi, Easy. Good morning.
Good morning. Some nice background behind you. Are you
I was,
in
ju- I was
outside?
just going to say, yes, I usually work at our balcony, not during the winter, but during this. Well, it's not a balcony, it's a terrace by our garden.
Yeah. I was very glad that you accepted my invitation to this talk. Let's
Oh,
enjoy it.
yes, let's enjoy. And thank you, Easy, for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Yes, and because this is a focused on a professional little bit,
Hmm.
there is also some personal touch to it. I would like to keep it. However, let's start with the professional question.
Hmm.
Can you please little bit tell us about your job, about your professional orientation? What do you do for
Hmm.
living?
Yes. So I've been for the past 10 years working with small business owners, like coaching them, mentoring them, and training them. However, I used to do it in a corporation, like in a corporational environment. And in 2018, I decided that I'll become actually professional coach and go on my own. So what I do these days, what I've been doing for 2.5 years, I went on my own literally the 1 week before COVID started. So it was a really good good timing. And what I do is I help people to become the person who can really have fulfilling relationships and can have great achievements in their work and their career life, and at the same time really even do, let's say, to do all that from deep, let's say, even spiritual fulfillment. So I'm mindfulness coach and I'm professional. I didn't all of a sudden invent that I'm mindfulness coach. I'm actually trained for that, and I've been meditating for 14 years and mainly work with leaders and business owners.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. Yes, when you say the word leaders, in my
Mm,
mind, there ring some names like Bruce Lipton, and there is another guy,
mm.
uh, Dispenza, Joe Dispenza,
Yes.
and many more others, Greg Braden, and many other
Hmm.
names.
All
Could you
familiar.
tell me who influenced you most?
So easily who influenced me the most is my teacher. So 14 years ago, I lived in Buddhist meditation center, and I met Tibetan meditation masters who lived in the caves and so on for a long time. So for me, it would be those teachers because they really introduced me to understand deep understanding of our mind. So they have the biggest influence in me. And then going still, but let's say going a bit more towards even professional, I don't really keep them so separate. I would say that my mentor coach, uh, Pedja Jovanovic, who's an amazing coach, he really helped me to understand what coaching is about. But from those names, who had the really big influence me is Joe Dispenza from the perspective of science. I through him I understood how important it is to also understand how these things work on the level of brain, because that's important for modern people. Even though for me it just like if you eat an ice cream, you don't need to. It will taste good regardless whether you know why it tastes good. So I know that the things that I do work. However, it is very useful to understand why they work. So Joe Dispenza has had a big influence on me also.
Thank you for answering this question. I would like to come back to this at the end of our interview if
Hmm.
there is time left, because these trends, new trends in coaching and new trends in mindfulness coaching are very interesting, I guess, for everybody who is listening at this moment. Let's touch that later if we can.
Hmm.
Uh, Now it's my next question about your past. Let's start from the
Hmm.
past. What
Hmm.
are you grateful for, happy about, proud of? Can you mention one thing or two things from your past which really you are happy about that you have achieved?
That I have achieved, I would say one of the things I'm so proud of is in 2013. I moved to Czech Republic. My wife is Czech, but I'm from Finland. And in that year, so many things happened. I completely changed my profession. My dad was doing really bad. He was in coma, and we had a child, and we didn't have a lot of money. And I decided to take a huge risk. I had an option to take a really like okay paid secure job at the airport helping Finnish people, but it was like, do I really want to do that? Or I was offered a job to lead a company, and that was for me. I've I I didn't have experience around the industry I went into, but I remember the exact moment when I was asked like, hey, I'd want to hire you for this position. You will run the whole company. I will just provide the money and so on. And inside I was thinking, no way, like, are you crazy? But I said, yes, of course. And saying, of course, I'm really proud about that. And I'm proud that I made the company profitable in the first 2 years. And that's what I'm proud that I said yes in a moment that was already difficult, that I took that risk. Well, second thing, now I'm purely speaking on the on the professional level, is that I'm running my own business for 2.5 years. Anybody who has their own business knows how challenging it is to actually make it work, especially if you started right before COVID. So I'm proud about those things, and I think I'm on the personal level, I'm proud that I've done those things from heart, that I stayed true to myself. And of course, there's all kinds of, I ran 5 conferences for 100 business owners around the world for 5 days. And like, I did a lot of those big things that I could just like say many of them, but still those things that I said, those are the things that I'm most proud of.
Thank you, Nicky. We are listening, and now I hope I will pronounce your name,
That's fine. It's a
Mr.
difficult one.
Vinogradov.
Wow,
Vinogradov.
perfect. 10 out of 10 points.
Thank you. Niki Vinogradoff is our honored guest at this podcast, and we are talking about not only about mindfulness coaching. Um, my next question is about
Mm,
present moment. And tell me, again, I will concentrate a little bit more on the business. Which
mm.
projects are you working on and at this moment in your life?
Yes, the project that I'm investing most in is to create an online course, because my life coach, the coaching one-to-one, is like the cheapest session is €1,000. So it's between 1,000 and 2,500, and I want to be able to provide to people a cheaper option and yet equally impactful. So I'm recording this 9 session online course, and that takes a lot of work, because recording all the videos, doing all the worksheets for people. I don't know how interesting this is for the people to listen, but that's my main focus. Now, also, I'm writing a book on the level of business. I have 148 pages written so far. So those are the two main big projects that take quite a bit, like building that online 9 session course and then writing the book. And then, of course, there's my daily work that I do. I have between 10 to 15 client sessions per week, and that's a big time invest, and I love doing that. And then it's doing the marketing for my business and sales. So those pretty much, those are my weeks get filled. I don't often work over 8 hours.
Yes, let's accelerate this by inviting people to write under this video. Please write for Nicky any question, comment. He will be so happy to answer your questions.
Mm-hmm.
Let's generate some discussion about these topics, about mindfulness coaching, about other things as well from our life. And now we are moving to the future. What can you invite us to into the future?
In the sense of what I'll be offering, or
Yes, please. Yes, please. Yes, yes.
yes, what I'm especially inviting people to is that they can do a course that will truly change their life. And I don't mean it in some vague way, but that people can go deep into themselves and discover the source of energy and the vision, and then really to ask them practically, like, how do I bring this into my daily life? How do I bring into my relationship, to my career, to my hobbies? And do, because the mistake most people make is that they think that if I do more of this, then I will have more of this and then I can be something. But for example, my course is actually first to go really deep into who do you want to be and start living from there and design your mindset, learn to manage your emotions, build habits that support you through daily life, learn to use the best possible tools for productivity. And then one difficult step that my clients go through is removing all the internal triggers so that they actually can go into life. So it's called energized mindfulness course. That's the name. And for me, it's always important that two things happen, that people focus on two things: personal transformation and real concrete results. So that's what I'm energized mindfulness course. That's my, let's say, future invitation. I already do it live, but I want to give it a more accessible price by putting it online.
Thank you. You are, yes, what you are saying is very makes for me it makes sense. And now let's lighten up a little bit. Let's go away from business for a while and tell me about your personal hobbies, about your personal interests a little bit.
Yes, I love running. I've done sports my whole life. I played ice hockey, football, but I run every day in the, there's a big forest behind us and I run there every day. That's just so refreshing. I usually listen to some podcast around very varying topics. I love watering our garden. I love cooking. I used to be a chef long time ago for 10 years. So I cook almost every day. That's really relaxing. I I don't know, meditation I don't count as a hobby, but I meditate every single morning about 90 minutes. And I love I love going to all kinds of children things with our daughter. So jump park and all kinds of like these parks. I really love going with our daughter to those things. Writing is something that I like. What else? What else? I do what's in the evening. I watch Netflix with my wife like 1 hour because we wake both. My wife wakes up at 4:30 a.m. I wake up at 5 a.m. And since we wake up, we are doing meaningful, important things. So what is really nice is at the end of the day, just like relax and watch something.
Yes, I have a very special question for you, and this is if you have any question for me.
What? Well, the first question that came to my mind, well, I will go with that. What was for you the moment, the spark that made you want to do these things? I see you are doing a lot of interviews with people. Like, what is for you the big reason for doing that?
Yes, thank you. I started with my sister. She's my junior, 4 years younger. Now she has two small kids. Maybe you can see them behind me on the board. But they are very small. And before she had those kids, we started the project Memo Point, where we were talking with senior people, older people in the older houses where they are living. We would visit them and we would talk with them about their life. And we would record these sessions and we would put them to the group, which is called Memo Point online. And they are leaving a message for the future generations. However, as you saying, this business, sometimes it's not easy for people and it's very difficult to make business out of it. Yes. So this project is still running. However, it's not profitable. It's just for fun. It's just our hobby. So this is how I started. And then I overlapped to business. So what I started doing, instead of talking just with people about their hobbies, I started to concentrate a little bit more on the business medallions. And because I like people, I like getting to know the greatest minds on our planet and what is their story. I enjoy it. And this is the most important for me, the word enjoy. So I enjoy being here with you, and that's why I'm doing this.
So enjoying that. And what have you so far learned? You said you like really enjoy speaking with some great minds. What are some things that are especially something that you have taken to yourself?
Yes. I have learned that it's very important to cooperate with people today as opposed to competition.
Mm.
because the world is transforming, and it's very important to come together, to share, to help each other,
Mm.
to find new relationships, to find new friendships. Because I can pick a time and I can call Kenya, for example, or I
Mm.
can call Singapore anytime and I can say, hey, can you help me? And they pick up the phone and they say, yes, of course, this is Yuri from the podcast. Thank you
Mm.
for the podcast. I can help you. And this is for me very important, not only because of this, but that I can have many friends and contacts around the whole
Mm.
world. I can anytime I can go to Australia, to
Mm.
Antarctica, I don't know, and
Mm.
visit my friends there. So this is very important.
Mm. So sounds like to you, relationships, meaningful relationship is really
Yeah,
important.
yeah, definitely, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Nicky, for those questions. We are slowly
You're welcome.
coming to the end. Do you have any final message for our audience? Follow-up
Final.
message?
When I get that question, I always there's so many things like what would be the most important, and the most important things we all have here in our life, they become so easily cliches, that all the power is inside you and so on, and those are only cliches when we don't have the experience of it. And my invitation would be, maybe this bit of challenging, is that maybe this is not relevant to, maybe I don't know if this is relevant to people who are listening to your podcast usually, but so many people unfortunately have this idea that they can avoid the biggest questions that life offers, like who am I, what is this, what is death, what is the structure of reality, what am I really doing here? And people might have this idea that those questions don't need to be answered, but every single person has already answered those questions. And if we have a, for example, idea that, well, I was just born randomly and one day I will die, and so on, then our life will be massively impacted in negative way through that. But if we really start, and when we realize that we cannot afford to not go into those questions, we will start answering those questions. It can be scary, but it is the most practical thing we can do, because we will truly start finding this clarity and direction and power within us. And what could be a bigger gift to ourselves, that rather than always needing to go somewhere in the external world to find some peace and relief, is that we find it from inside. And the amazing thing is that it makes us very practical, because when the disturbances are gone, we can start creating and building things in the world. Becomes natural to us that we want to create something or build something in the world. And so this, let's say, the spiritual or mindful part of our life, I think the most important thing is that we integrate into our business, into our professional life, that it's not like, okay, here's me as mindful spiritual person and here's me as professional. But I think that's something really worth for people to consider, to get an experience, that deep inside we have massive energy and clarity that we can bring into the world in a practical way. We don't need to become like some weird, like you mentioned Craig Braden, this Joe Dispenza, and Bruce Lipton, and they're all very scientific, and they make a lot of sense, and they make amazing things happen in the world. They are really good examples, I think. That's
Thank
my
you.
final message.
Perfect, perfect. Niki Vinogradoff.
Thank you, Yuzi.
Thank you. Usually I switch it off, but I would like to keep the recording a little bit
Yes.
running a little bit more, because I have prepared during this interview arose one more question, and this is trends in coaching. I would like to concentrate on the trends of mindful coaching. How do you see these trends these days?
Might be a strange thing to say, but I'm not the biggest fan of the trend, actually, because the trend for mindfulness coaching is to help you to get rid of stress, or like get rid of thoughts, which that's usual, that's surface level, but that's that's almost like, imagine that you go to your favorite restaurant. Imagine that you go to your favorite restaurant. There's all the amazing meals that you could ever, and everything will be for free. And you would only ask if you could have a cup of water. Like that's why what I think is that the mindfulness trend is it's only really touching the uh, tip of the iceberg. I wish that many mindfulness courses would go deeper. And yet, I am not saying that it's not. I think one of the most important things is that people get a relief from the stress. World will be a better place through that. So I wish that we could go deeper. That's my, and what I mean by deeper is that not just to get like rid of things, like let's get rid of stress and rid of thoughts, but okay, what can we really, how can we use it in, I leave it at this. I think the big mistake people think is that mindfulness is just some technique that is going to work, but it's not going to work as a technique, because we are a totality. If there's stress in our life, there's many factors, there's many things that we do to create that stress, and just having a technique is not going to really be the full help, but transforming the whole person. That's the trend I wish to become more popular.
Thank you for your answer.
Yeah, you're welcome. Good question.
I don't forget that you offered me a sample of your services, of your coaching, and I'm looking forward very much to it. However, there have been some turbulent times, but it's in a good way. Now, for example, my wife is ill. She got the same illness as me, so she is lying in bed with some temperatures. But let's hope that everything will be fine and she will be
Yes.
healthy soon as myself, because I got through it very quickly. And when the time comes, I would be happy to sit with you and try your mindfulness coaching. I'm
Yes,
looking forward to that.
you are most welcome. I offer to everybody who wants. There's 1 hour free where I will do my everything to that it will be useful, and then the person can decide on their own if they want to continue. If they don't want to continue, I will support them in that, and I will still give them resources. So just get in contact, and we'll have a session.
Yeah, and I will say one more thing about organizational things of my podcast. First, I will send it to you. You can check it. If you agree with everything, I will put it on
Yes.
YouTube. And then in 2 months, or maybe even 1 month, because now there are not so many pre-recorded videos. So maybe within 1 month, I would like to promote it from my site on LinkedIn
Yes.
and on Facebook, on these 2
Yes, I
platforms.
will do that. I will promote it on my LinkedIn also.
Perfect. Thank you,
Good.
Nicky.
Thank you, Easy. I really enjoyed the conversation with you. There's really this great humility is, I think, is one of the greatest qualities people can have, because it's the openness to learning. And like you said, you want to talk with great minds. And I really felt in you this genuine desire to learn and to connect. So thank you very much for that. Thank you for that.